So you were here a number of years ago, in 2015. It's not that long ago, I guess, 2 years ago, and had a discussion like this with Mike Suffredini. And a lot of things have happened since 2015 for SpaceX. So can you talk about how things have gone, how they've progressed, how you're feeling about how the industry and SpaceX in particular have progressed?
Sure. Well, I think we are entering a new era of space exploration, which is extremely exciting. And it's not just SpaceX, but there's a number of other companies that have developed new approaches. NASA is taking new approaches to things, which is really exciting. In the way that the contracting has been done for space station resupply, I think is a great model that frankly should be adopted throughout government. I spoke a little bit about this at the Governor's Conference, and it was actually using the NASA cargo resupply contracting process as a really great model for government in general. It's where you have two competitors, fixed price, milestone based, where the milestones are primarily hardware oriented. And then if one of the two companies that's competing does not reach their milestones, then the remainder of the milestones are competed to another company, and that's what happened with cargo resupply. It started off with SpaceX and Kistler. Kistler made some progress, but wasn't going to get across the finishing line. And then Orbital Sciences was competed for the second slot, and they did get across the finishing line. And now both SpaceX and Orbital are providing NASA with cargo services to the space station. And having that competitive dynamic is I think, just a very powerful function for getting a great outcome for the NASA as the customer. And I think that's just that was a great model, really well executed, and to the degree that's applicable in other areas of NASA or the government, I think there's the potential for revolutionary progress on that front. So from a technical standpoint, the biggest thing that's happened in the last couple of years, which I'm really excited about and I think makes a difference for access to space, is the landing of the Falcon 9 rocket booster, and then and if you ever get a chance to go out to the Cape or Vandenberg to see that, I'd really recommend it. It's really pretty fun. So, there'll be a lot of those flights in the remainder of the year. We've got about a dozen flights still to go this year. And then after landing, reflying that same booster with minimal work to the booster. And we believe we can get to the point where, in the not too distant future, in fact, probably by next year, where the Falcon 9 booster can be reflown within 24 hours. So, yeah. And the key to that is that all you do is inspections, and no hardware is changed, not even the paint. So this is very important. So that's our aspiration for next year. Obviously, while paying very close attention to mission assurance and reliability, but we think we've got at least a technical path to achieving that. And then I think we're quite close to being able to recover the fairing. So there's a huge nose cone on the front of Falcon 9, which is a 5.2 meter diameter nose cone. You can fit basically a whole sort of city bus in there, and that fairing alone, with all of its systems and the acoustic damping and qualification, all that, and the separation system, that's about a $5 or $6 million piece of equipment. And the analogy I use with my team is like, guys, imagine we had, $6 million in a pallet of cash, and that was, $6 million is falling through the sky. And would we try to catch it? I say we do. I say we give it a shot. Worst case, it ends up at the bottom of the ocean, but maybe we do catch it, and then pay $6 million.
Let me know when that pallet of cash is coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to give it a shot too.
It might as well be a pallet of cash because it costs $6 million. So, but I think we got a decent shot of recovering the fairing by the end of the year, and possibly reflight by either late this year or early next. And that just leaves the upper stage of the rocket. Upper stage is about 20% of the cost of the mission. So if we get boost stage and fairing, we're around 80% reusable. And then I think we for a lot of missions we can even bring the second stage back. So we're going to try to do that. Although our primary focus will be on our Dragon, particularly over the next year or so, our Dragon 2 spacecraft, which is the Crew Dragon, next generation Dragon spacecraft, which has got all of the Eclipse systems and the ability to do a launch abort all the way to orbit, and do an automated docking maneuver. So it doesn't need to berth with the aid of the arm. It can do a direct docking maneuver, and then that will be once that's operational, the new method of taking both cargo and crew to the space station. So if I say what's our primary focus, it's making sure we stay on track for getting crew to station, as we promised NASA around the middle of next year. That's going to be real exciting. I think it's going to be great for getting the public fired up. That's really...
It's been a while since we launched astronauts from U.S. soil, so
yeah.
we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I'd just like to thank people at NASA for giving SpaceX a chance to do this, and just want a word of appreciation for the working relationship with NASA, which is great. In fact, I told the governors last week that for a long time my password was "I love NASA." That is actually true. This is.
You've given all the hackers around the world something
Yeah.
to go work on.
Hopefully I don't have some old email account somewhere still with that,
Yeah.
It's I better change this. People are going to cotton on.
Very good. So how you talked a little bit about commercial crew. How is that going? I know it's flying humans. There's more systems involved. Of course, the risk is higher.
Yeah.
How is that progressing?
It's been way more difficult than cargo for sure. Yeah. I mean, as soon as sort of people enter the picture, it's really a giant step up in making sure things go right, and for sure the oversight from NASA is much tougher. It was not that it wasn't tough with cargo, but it's really intense for crew. So coming from the right motivations, yeah, it's it can be a bit tough on my guys, the women men of SpaceX, but I know where it's coming from. It's the right motivation, and there'll be some debates, going into next year about some of the technical details, and is this right or that right? But I think we really want to do everything humanly possible to make sure it goes well, and triple check everything, and overall I think it's going really well. There's getting like these little small technical bones of contention, which but we're working through those.
We're engineers. We live for that.
Exactly.
We live for that.
Yeah, and some of these things are really like esoteric. I mean, unless somebody's really in the weeds on rocket and spacecraft design, it will just sound like you're talking Greek, but ancient Greek, you know. But yeah, but there's, you know, I think it's good to have these debates, and overall, I'm confident that it's going to be a system that that NASA feels good about, and SpaceX feels good about, and we look forward to continuing the partnership into next year and doing a great job for NASA.
Excellent, thank you. So we talked a little bit about commercial crew. We have cargo supply, resupply 1,
Yep.
which you have the
Yep.
Dragon, which of course Dragon 1, which is berthed. And in fact, you've done a reflight recently with the Dragon.
Yeah, yeah. You know, thanks for bringing that up. You know, because that's kind of important.
Yes, it is.
And again, thanks for the NASA support on that. God, we really should, you know, we should have made a slightly bigger deal out of it because it was the first reflown spacecraft since the shuttle. And we kind of forgot to make, you know, let people know I mean, I guess it was there in the details, but we forgot to, you know, I don't think the public even realizes that it's the first reflight of a spacecraft, of an orbital spacecraft since the shuttle.
Which performed very well too. Very good, good clean mission.
Yeah, it's solid. And I mean, now that was a case where I should, in full disclosure, say that it cost us almost as much in fact, probably about as much, maybe more, to refill.
We're not negotiating a contract here.
No, I know, I know. I've just been totally honest here. The SpaceX internal accounting said that it cost us almost as much as building a Dragon 1 from scratch. I suspect our internal accounting was probably wasn't counting certain things.
There were some circumstances unusual about this one, right? This one had some
but the
water
next one,
incursions and things like that. So the amount of rework on this particular...
This had a lot of rework, yeah. But the next one, we think there's a decent shot of being maybe sort of 50% the cost of a new one.
Keep going, my contracting officer's here.
Yeah, I'm negotiating against myself here.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, we want to offer the, you know, best possible deal for NASA, and it's always tough to get that top line budget to increase. Hope it does. Man, I think so much good could be accomplished if the NASA top line budget was increased. People have no idea, you know.
So talk a little bit, so we talked about CRS-1 and berthing in CRS-2.
Yeah.
Are we talking about commercial crew? CRS-2, the Dragon, is going to, it's cargo Dragon. It's the similar out-of-mold line of the Crew Dragon, but it's going to dock. And so talk about the...
then we'll have good commonality between the systems.
Synergisms and things like that.
So the only thing Cargo Dragon won't have is the launch escape system. Or it'll still have the logic associated with separating from the vehicle. So I think most likely even Cargo Dragon 2 would be able to survive booster anomaly, like that word anomaly. We
don't like that word either.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't like it. Anyway, it won't have the launch. It'll have everything else on that Crew Dragon 2 has except the thrusters, but I think in most cases actually it would still be able to survive re-entry and keep the cargo safe. But having that commonality is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, it seems like, you know, docking itself, and if, you know, even beyond testing of systems evolutions and things, it might be beneficial to test on the cargo version versus
totally.
the crew. And,
absolutely.
And I know you've already done some things on CRS-1 to prepare for CRS-2 and testing some TPS repair capability and things like that. So.
Exactly. Actually, I really, just like to, express some appreciation for the whole CRS team because they've really allowed us to update the rocket and, add crazy things like landing legs. And been really fair, I think, in allowing us to iterate with the booster for the CRS contract. And then and then, as you're pointing out, Dragon 2 being used for both cargo and crew allows us to iterate with just a little more risk on the cargo version and prove it out for this crew on board. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Excellent. So let's talk about. I know we got a few more minutes here, and then we'll open it up to questions. But you know, the theme here is for the conference is innovation, and of course we talked already about some innovations in the launch business. But what do you think needs to be? Where are the areas or the thrusts for innovation that we really need? Both, you know, not excluding the launch, but also looking at low Earth orbit. What's
Sure.
in low Earth orbit? Where do you think we as a you know, space industry need to go and look for our innovation?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think for the long, I still believe, and I think many people do, the key to opening up space or orbit, you know, LEO and beyond, is rapid and complete reusability, or near complete reusability, like we have with aircraft, or cars, or, you know, almost any form of transport. It's super hard with space because this, you know, we live on a planet with pretty high gravity, so this would be pretty easy if we were on Mars or something like that. But Earth's gravity is really pretty high, and we've got a thick atmosphere, and so reusability is tough, and you're going through, you know, you've got to operate in a vacuum, hypersonic, supersonic, transonic, subsonic. That's just a lot of regimes for any sort of flying object to go through. But reusability, I think, is absolutely fundamental to a breakthrough in access to orbit and beyond, LEO and beyond. Anything that can be done in that direction, I think, is good. Mm-hmm.
Certainly change the economics of transportation to low Earth orbit, right?
Really fundamental.
If you get quick reusability, the economic equation, it becomes easier to get to low Earth orbit and do more things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, just any mode of transport. Like it's like, and before there was Union Pacific going across the U.S. to California, and there's like hardly any people in California. People thought building the Union Pacific was just crazy because you got like nobody there. So why are we building a railroad to nowhere? Now, you know, California is the most populous state in the country.
Some people stopped in Texas along the way. Just
yeah.
few of us did. Not in the summer, by the way.
I love Texas. You know, we do a huge part of our R&D in Texas, in Central Texas. A lot of people don't know about that. Near Waco, we do. So Central Texas, we do.
You did Bosa Chica down in the south there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So we've got a lot of activity throughout Texas. We're building, a third launch site in South Texas near Brownsville. I think that'll give us good, you know, contingency capability if there's say a hurricane coming through the Cape, and we still need to get to the station. We could, you know, launch out of South Texas, and that'll ensure continuity of service. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Texas. Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. All right, traffic's not as bad as in Southern California.
Oh man, so that's the biggest issue in Southern California. Traffic hell. I mean, it's just like which level of hell are you in? So it's like, if you're in hell.
Yeah, Washington's trying to catch up. By the way.
But you know, I mean, this is. I mean, we're digging a tunnel. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
So it's like the tunnel starts right across from SpaceX HQ. So if you're ever out and you want to see our tunnel,
as long as you promise not to close it in after I get in.
No problem. We're digging the tunnel, and it's kind of like I don't know. It's like actually, oddly enough, it's like a little low stress activity because like everyone expects it to fail, I mean sort of grown-worthy joke that I make about tunnels is that they have low expectations. There's nowhere to go but down.
Yes.
I can keep going.
Wow. That makes sense. You're involved in space, you're involved in tunnels, you kind of cover
yeah,
the gamut.
they used to call me Internet Guy when I started off in space. Hey, there's this Internet Guy who's in space. He's obviously going to fail. So then they stopped saying Internet Guy. I think that's going to say Transport Guy. He's a transport guy.
So speaking of transports, so today ISS is up there, and really the conference is focused a lot on some of the research and development that's going on there. But and commercialization too, by the way. But commercialization, at least NASA's strategy is commercialization will be fostered on ISS, and then at some point in the future, ISS will go away, and we expect. We hope for a vibrant low Earth orbit economy at that point in time.
That's cool.
And I'm kind of curious what you see in terms of SpaceX and your transportation relative to that economy. What's next for commercial crew after ISS?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think the public realizes how cool ISS is. That is an awesome thing that's up there. I told a lot of people that, first of all, some people don't realize we have a space station. Like, you cannot be serious. We have a gigantic space station. It's huge. Yeah. It's really gigantic. It's a pretty incredible structure that we have orbiting the Earth. And I think I'd recommend, we've got to do something to educate the public about the awesomeness of the space station, because it is pretty amazing. And big. Like, people just lose sight of, they think, oh, there's a little thing. It's big. It's real big. And now it's finally getting into sort of real operational use. That's great. It's like an amazing technological achievement. So, but then, I think in terms of low Earth orbit stuff, on the commercial side, I think there's a lot of opportunities in kind of a global internet capability, so providing internet to parts of the world that either don't have it or where it's very expensive and not very good. The space is really good for providing internet connectivity for sparsely populated or low populated regions. So it's not really a threat to telcos. Actually, it can make telcos' lives easier, because there are a lot of customers that are very hard to serve, where, digging a fiber cable for 2 miles, they'll never pay off the investment to get to one house type of thing. Mm-hmm. But from space, you can really serve those customers at economically sensible rates. There's Earth observation, getting better understanding of crops and climate and natural any natural disaster information, but I think if we want to get the public real fired up, I think we gotta have a base on the moon, that would be pretty cool. And then going beyond that, getting people to Mars.
Yeah. Certainly sending people further than we've ever sent them before, I think, is captivating for the people. So
yeah, exactly.
It's captivating for me, I know that.
Yeah, exactly. Having some permanent presence on another heavenly body, which would be the kind of the moon base, and then and then getting people to Mars and beyond. That's sort of that's the continuance of the dream of Apollo that I think people are really looking for.